You served your country with honor, endured unimaginable challenges, and built your future on the promise that homeownership was within reach. A place to call your own, where your family could certainly thrive. But now, you're being told that things beyond your control, economic shifts, rising material costs, and global politics are threatening that dream. And if you're feeling like the system is trying to shut you out, you're definitely not alone. But here's the truth, guys. Just because the market feels uncertain doesn't mean your opportunity is gone for forever. In fact, this might be the window others are too scared to step through, but may not be you. What's up, guys? My name is Casey McEwen, and welcome to the Veteran Advantage channel. I'm a proud U.S. Marine Corps veteran and had the honor of serving from 2008 to 2012 out of Camp Pendleton, California. Now, whether or not you're still on active duty, getting ready to transition into civilian life, or just curious about the benefits available after serving in the military, or maybe you're even potentially looking at joining the military, well, this channel's got you covered. So go ahead, if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to stay tuned for more future content. Now let's start with something that often gets glossed over. How exactly do economic factors like tariffs and inflation impact home loans, especially you trying to utilize your VA loan? Now, it's not just buzzwords in the news. Tariffs, for example, and essentially taxes that the US government places on imported goods, which then increases the costs of everything from construction lumber to electrical wiring. That means everything becomes more expensive to build homes. And trust me, I'm building my own home right now. I can tell you firsthand. Higher building costs can certainly fuel inflation, which plays a huge role in interest rates. Yes, even VA loans. But here's where things get interesting, guys. It's not always a direct line from tariffs to sky-high rates. A lot of folks assume that the moment tariffs go into effect, interest rates will explode. And that's not entirely how it works, guys. Interest rates are influenced by a web of factors: the Federal Reserve's monetary policy, global market reactions, bond yields, and yes, even economic uncertainty. For instance, when tariffs stir fear in the markets, investors often flock to more safer investments like US Treasury bonds. That demand can actually lower interest rates, at least temporarily. In fact, there have been multiple times in recent years when interest rates dropped after new tariffs were announced. Now, if you look back at the last few times the US played with a tariff card, VA loans didn't really shoot up. They actually remained some of the most competitive rates on the market. That's the power of the VA loan, though. It's built to support veterans with lower than average rates and no private mortgage insurance, which keeps your monthly payment lean. Plus, it's one of the few programs that still offers 100% financing with no expiration, making it a cornerstone of veteran home ownership. So where does that exactly leave you today? Well, inventory levels are certainly climbing in a majority of the markets. After months of being in a tight seller's market, we're finally seeing more homes sit on the market, giving buyers, especially those utilizing their VA loan, more negotiating power. Sellers are more open to concessions or seller credits, rate buydowns, and repair credits. You may be asking why? Well, because they're eager to close or sell their home. And buyers who are pre-approved are ready to act now, who can lock in homes at more favorable terms. It's what some may call a quiet buyer's market, less media buzz, but ripe with opportunity. As a veteran myself who's used my VA loan multiple times, I am also a licensed real estate professional, both in the state of Texas and Florida, and I can tell you, I know both markets very, very well. I also know markets well outside of the states of Texas and Florida, but that's largely where I sell. And I can tell you, actually having 3 veteran families under contract right now, you are in a very favorable market, maybe not necessarily at the overall interest rate that you may be getting, but being able to have an individual seller pay for all of your closing costs, or have a seller or potentially a new build community get you a much more favorable rate, plus cover all of your closing costs. A lot of these were not possible, especially from the years from like 2020, maybe 2019, all the way to 2022, where you really didn't have any incentives on the builder side. And then if you went pre-owned and tried to get a home on the active market, you were likely outbid by people paying full cash or individual people that were financing that particular home with a significant down payment. So like I said, I have one particular veteran under contract. They need to sell a house in Missouri. They don't have any cash because they have all their cash in equity in the house in Missouri. But fortunately enough, we have a seller down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are covering all of their closing costs on a house that's about 11 years old. And we just got the inspection back, and honestly, there's very little to nothing wrong with the house. It's been very well taken care of, and they're gonna be able to close sometime in the month of May. And the huge perk is their house in Missouri does not need to sell in order for them to purchase down in Texas. So really they're walking into this house here in Texas with a little under $1,000 out of pocket. And another example in the Orlando, Florida market is I have a veteran couple that has retired and they're looking to settle down. They don't have necessarily a ton of cash on hand to be able to cover all of their closing costs. So we are in the works to be able to find them a house that they love in the area that they want to be in and have the seller cover all of their closing costs. Again, this was certainly not possible just a few years ago. Rates may have been a little bit better a few years ago, but it doesn't matter if you can't even find or get a house due to all of the crazy competition. Now here's something worth paying attention to. Rates might even go lower. Based on current trends and the latest movement in the 10-year treasury yield, which heavily influences mortgage rates, many experts are still anticipating a potential drop in the coming months. Now, if that happens, the veterans who purchase now could be in a great position in the near future to refinance, meaning you get the home now, get the seller credits, and then improve your loan down the road with an IRRRL or an interest rate reduction loan. All this to say, don't let fear hold you back. While others are pausing, you could be in a good position to essentially beat the curve. You don't have to navigate this alone though. VA loans come with unique nuances, and working with a specialist who truly understands your benefits can make all the difference, like myself, having actually used my VA loan multiple different times. So whether or not you're on active duty, a veteran, or a surviving spouse, you deserve guidance that's tailored to your situation, not cookie cutter advice. So go ahead and take that next step. Get your pre-qualification, look at your options, even if you're just testing out the waters. Knowledge is power here, guys. And remember, your service already proved that you're not afraid of the hard stuff, so don't let the market noise distract you from the dream you've earned. Now, if you're potentially looking at utilizing your VA loan in the current real estate market, and you don't have any real estate professional, whether that be lender or agent, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below or reach out to me directly. All of my information is going to be in the description. You can reach me via text, Instagram DM, you can schedule a Zoom call, or just follow me on any social platforms and shoot me a DM, as I'll always get back to anyone that reaches out. I'd love to obviously be the realtor to assist you in either Florida or Texas, but if it isn't one of those two states, I know a ton of veteran realtors as well as lenders all over the country that I can get you connected with to be able to help you potentially purchase that dream house you've always wanted. But that's all I got for you guys this week. As always, I love and appreciate all the support. Make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for next week's content.